Hey, what's up, wrestling fans and YouTube fam? Welcome back to the channel for another edition of the Davon Lewis Show podcast, where I try to keep everything all nitty gritty, everything saucy in Atlanta professional wrestling. We're making this your go-to spot for weekly wrestling breakdowns, hot takes, and everything in between. If you're new here, go ahead and smash the like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications. And I'm your host, Davon, with a weekly review for this week's edition episode for their highlighted pay-per-view for AEW's Double or Nothing for 2025. Let's go ahead and get into the show. Appreciate you guys coming through. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for coming out through the time of your day to come out with a weekly results review for AEW Double or Nothing. I was in attendance for this actual show, had a whole lot of great fun from every single match that had took place, down to Mercedes Moné and Jamie Hayter, all the way down to Anarchy and Marina, down to the greatest main event in quite such a long time, Hangman Adam Page versus Will Ospreay. We also had a whole lot that took place in tonight's showcase, including a couple of returns, including with Hook, and we also had Gabe Kidd getting involved as well. We had a whole lot that took place, but let's go ahead and dive and get and start from the beginning of the show for everything that took place. I'm gonna give my own personal opinion of how everything had transitioned, how the matches was from my own personal hot take, and give you guys results if you guys have not already checked out Double or Nothing. But more importantly, thank you guys for coming through for the podcast. Let's go ahead and dive into the first match that took place, which was the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament Final. We had Mercedes Moné, the TBS champion, defeating the likes of Jamie Hayter after a great back and forth match. It was good stuff. Great transition. These ladies have great chemistry. I had enjoyed the whole entire presentation of what they put together. But more importantly, you couldn't ask for any better when it came to Mercedes Moné and Jamie Hayter. Jamie held her own all the way throughout the course of this match, including the Tombstone Power Driver and a whole lot that took place. These ladies put on a clinic when it came down to an inside cradle of Mercedes able to get the victory. Now she's running her advancement all the way to All In to take on Toni Storm, which should be a good one. But more importantly, you never know what you're going to get when it comes to the women's division. Hopefully, Tony Khan comes up with a stipulation to make it winner takes all, which I'm all good for that. To have the TBS championship, all the championships on line, all four championships should be on the line, including all Mercedes championships as well. If Mercedes want to become the big dog and collect the biggest championship, the prestigious championship in AEW, it's got to be reciprocated in a big way of having Toni Storm be able to collect those titles too, so she become a belt collector as well. I'd like to know from you guys' point of view how you guys are feeling about this actual victory coming from Mercedes Moné. She's a sweetheart. She's been good. I was able to meet her at the media scrum, and she was a good one, from my own personal opinion. But let's go ahead and dive into the tag team match for FTR, Dax Harwood and Cass Wheeler, who was with Stokely Hathaway, who defeated the likes of Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness, who was with Matt Menard. It was via referee stoppage after a sharpshooter was locked on Daniel Garcia. He ended up passing out, but it was a great transition back and forth, especially seeing Nigel McGuinness back in the ring, holding his own, but more importantly, it kept me highly invested of seeing what was going on through the course of the match, and it was great wrestling. From my own personal opinion, hopefully you guys actually enjoyed the tag team match. I thought for a moment, we had a moment where Stokely Hathaway got in the face of no other than Tony Schiavone, who was at the commentary table. And for a moment there, I thought Tony was going to get involved and finally strike Stokely Hathaway, or even just get that pop, because the fans really were chanting for Tony Schiavone big in that actual tag team match. But nothing happened. Tony kind of was just like moral support of the whole situation, and was telling Daniel Garcia to fight on, but he couldn't, and he passed out. And FTR, doing what they normally do, cut off the ring, being one of the greatest tag team of all time, was able to secure the victory and handle business in a big way. And you just kind of figured that's what they're actually known for, is handling business. Then it's time for the stretcher match, which this match I honestly thought it could have been on Dynamite or Collision, but it was stable and it was actually added to the Double or Nothing card. As we have Ricochet, probably in his best form ever, being a part of the AEW roster, defeated the likes of Mark Briscoe. The big takeaway from it was the high spots, the stretcher being used, a whole lot of detailing when it came to everything that took place. And I really enjoyed this match. Had a great time with the media team, which I was a part of, hanging out, including with FIFO, all the other ones, Wrestle Talk, and all the other great wrestling companies that had do reviews, results. Really were enjoying themselves, much as I was as well, with the fans, interacting with the AEW staff, who were really, really great and professional. Really gave me a great experience for the 6-year anniversary for AEW. But this match was really, really, really great. You could have got everything that you could have asked for, but they held their own. Just on paper, it felt like it should have been on Dynamite or Collision, but they really stepped it up to another high caliber level with everything that was being involved. Even the funny spot that got me laughing through the course of everything was the cue ball spot where Mark Briscoe got the spraying cleanser and sprayed it on Ricochet's head, then got a rag and then rubbed it, and then of course got the fans chanting, and that was a good moment. That was a great highlight for people to actually remember. And the spots too, with the ambulance being involved, even interacting with the fans, a whole lot of back and forth, and it was a good one, all the way down to Ricochet getting the victory. Probably one of the funniest things was Ricochet was trying to get one of the fan signs after the match, and pretty much the fan really was like toiling with him. He couldn't get it. He kept trying to grab it and trying to rip it, but he couldn't. He wasn't fast enough. But it was a good match from my own perspective. It was good. It was calm, cool, and collective, and you couldn't ask for anything better when it came to Ricochet and Mark Briscoe. They have great chemistry, and they really did put on a great clinic, from my own personal opinion. Then it came down to the AEW Tag Team Championship match. We had the Hurt Syndicate members of Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, along with MJF and MVP, defeating the likes of the Sons of Texas with the advantage after Shelton Benjamin was able to get the victory with a thrust super kick on Sammy Guevara after cutting off the ring, handling business as normal. Even with MJF's involvement was a little hilarious, a whole lot of what's going on. Even the prop spot with Bobby Lashley spearing Dustin Rhodes through the barricade, and a whole lot took place. Even a little bit of frustration on MVP's part to trying to calm down MJF from getting involved, because Bobby Lashley had his moments where he did not want MJF to get involved, but they kind of just clicked, let things flow, and we got to see how the storyline continues to pin. But in overall, it was good for my books, and I had enjoyed the actual tag team match. It was a lot of fun for this week's edition of Double or Nothing. They really put on a clinic for the tag team match, and it was solid. We couldn't ask for anything better when it came to the Hurt Syndicate and the Sons of Texas. Then we got the AEW Continental Championship match between Kogiska Okada defeating the likes of Speedball Mike Bailey with the lovely Rainmaker. It was everything you could have asked for in this match. It was calm, cool, and collective. I had enjoyed the full presentation of what Mike Bailey actually stands on. But more importantly, Okada was back to a great form. He was able to have his toughest test ever, even getting chopped like a meat cleaver, down to the kicks, down to the prop spots, the outside moves, the tombstone, power driver, everything you could have asked for. You got it directly in this match, and it was great from these boys. These boys put on a clinic, and you couldn't ask for anything whatsoever. Mike Bailey really continues to impress me every single week. The way how he handled himself, the charisma has really been on point, and you truly couldn't ask for anything better when it comes to Mike Bailey. When it comes to Okada, he's always been one of my favorites to come out of New Japan Pro Wrestling. You couldn't ask for anything better when it comes to Okada's ring work. But of course, in the beginning, people were like, oh, he's buried. They're not using him correctly. He really stepped up this week on Double or Nothing and really showed us like he still is the Rainmaker. He can still hold his own as being the actual Continental Champion. and it was good for television. It was good pay-per-view when it came to singles action. Probably my best women's match of the night was Toni Storm versus Mina Shirakawa, who was along with Luther. This was a lot of back and forth as Toni was able to get the victory with the Storm Zero. Mina really held her own. The crowd was problem for both of them. They really was loud in the Arizona arena. You could have got everything you really could have asked for. It was a great decision by Tony Khan to move it to Arizona to give it a little bit of a refreshment. But it was a sold out crowd from every single part, from the fans' interaction. They really enjoyed this match between Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa. But you could have got everything you could have asked for. I had enjoyed it. I enjoyed everything that they stand on. Everything was great from this match, even when it came down to me meeting up with Toni Storm with this media scrum, even her being silly as usual. Luther was trying to push her through afterwards, and then of course she ends up hitting the media with her feet, and a whole lot that was going on, whole lot of laughter, even with her knocking everything over, running to Renee. They have a great love sister relationship, and you couldn't ask for anything better when it came to those two interacting at the media scrum too. But it was a lot that you could have asked for. Then we got to the big one, probably the best match, close second, but the best Anarchy in the Arena match of all time. Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland, Willow Nightingale, and the Opps members of Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs and Shibata defeated the likes of the Death Rider members of John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Willow Yuta, and Marina Shafir, along with the EVPs, the Young Bucks, Nicholas and Matthew Jackson. Swerve Strickland was able to secure the victory for his team after using a thumbtacks assisted Swerve stomp on Nicholas Jackson. He was advertising his brand new shoes that currently on sale. Highly recommend for you guys to get your pair of those edition Black Panther kind of style silhouette shoes, which are kind of like black, white, and gold with a nice little detailing. Love the bottoms of the shoes too, kind of nice with great detailing and artwork. If you're a big fan of Swerve Strickland, highly recommend for you guys to pick up those shoes. But in overall, the man was able to secure the victory. Great spots all across the board, including the fourth cliff spot, all the way down to everything. You saw the Captain American shield to a whole lot. Great spots. Samoa Joe was holding his own. Majority of the time I saw him fighting with Claudio Castagnoli. They have great relationship of chemistry. Willow Nightingale and Marina was going back and forth. Even Marina was taking some hits. She literally was taking some hits through the match, and she held her own. Big props to Marina for standing her test of time in that match. Even Willow was taking some spots too, but the big one was when Swerve actually was able to get the staple gun and was stapling everybody from every single angle, and I was calling those spots. I knew exactly where Swerve was going to hit, and it was good. It was a great match. Everybody was standing on their feet the whole entire time of this match, even with the song selections, even with everything that was going on. It was everything that you truly could have asked for, but it was a lot of fun. For my own personal opinion, this probably was the best highlighted Anarchy in the Arena thus far. You know, out of all of them that I've seen over these years, this Tony Khan could not top this whatsoever. When it comes to the Don Callis family, they're in trios action. They had to top the match that just took place when it came to Anarchy Arena, as he selected the members of Josh Alexander and Konosuke Takeshita going to battle, and Kyle Fletcher going to battle with the Paragon members, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. What you got of this match was a whole lot of back and forth with great chemistry, strong style wrestling, jiu-jitsu, everything, suplexes, European uppercuts. You got just about everything that you could have asked for. But the Don Callis family was able to secure the victory and cut off the ring and was able to secure the victory. When it comes to the Paragon, Kyle O'Reilly is my favorite when it comes to the whole entire group, and he held his own. Roderick Strong with his chops and everything, you know, he's just dead strong, from my own personal opinion. But when it comes to the Don Callis family, they needed this victory. Josh Alexander continued to impress me each and every single week, even though people thought he was going to get buried. But he's being used very well with the Don Callis family lately. He's finally finding his niche. Continues to be the ace, and I could see him being the face of New Japan Pro Wrestling if he decides to leave AEW in the near future, or even cross-brand contract, and he becomes the New Japan Pro Wrestling World Champion. Takeshita is my pick when it comes to being a world champion. When it comes to Kyle Fletcher, he always holds his own, and you couldn't ask for anything better when it comes to Kyle Fletcher. I enjoyed how everything had transitioned with the tag team match, but things got more intriguing as Lance Archer and RPG Vice attacked the Paragon with the upper hand advantage. Then we had Brody King, Tomohiro Ishii, and the biggest prop, meaning not the prop, but biggest pop of the night was Hiroshi Tanahashi came out with the Arizona crowd, and they big time popped for him. This was a big surprise on Tony Khan's part, and I really popped hard for this guy. This guy was everything you truly could have asked for. Tanahashi is a true legend in the business, and the way how they sold it, it was green as grass as you possibly can get. And the faces were able to clear out the ring. The Don Callis family was able to regroup, and it's like this is the next build-up feud with everything that's going on. Maybe this may end up being blood and guts, but we got to stay tuned to see what may happen, because there's so many possibilities of who may be involved in blood and guts, and I'm all okay with whoever storyline ties into it. It'll be good for pro wrestling. Then we got the main event of the night of the Owen Hart Foundation men's tournament. It was Hangman Adam Page coming off with the victory, defeating Will Ospreay with the buckshot lariat. It was everything you could have asked for. It was wrestling on 101 of if you want to have a great match, watch this match. The chemistry was on par. The near falls really had people at the gasp. This match literally went almost 30 minutes. Everything you truly could have asked for. A true Ironman test for both guys. But they really put on a great performance, and I really had a great time with this match. Even with the media team that was hanging out with, even down to the people that from overseas that came out with their chants, and so much more. Everybody was on their feet when it came to this match ending, even down to the confetti. But it was the right call when it came to Hangman Adam Page getting the victory, and it was good from my own personal opinion. And the show cleared out very well. I had a good time. Then I was escorted into the media scrum part of things, and it was a great time for myself, just in general. I had a fun time just with how everything was being comical and collective. Was able to interact and enjoy the media for a little bit, and then after the media was able to interact with a couple of stars and all that good stuff, and it was a great time. Even down to my wife, she was calling me. She was like, "Are you done yet? You've been in there for quite a good minute." But I still had to make a 4-hour drive coming back to Vegas. But in overall, it was a great experience, and I thank AEW for taking a time out to invite me for that experience, because I've been to almost nearly every single Double or Nothing. More importantly, this probably was my favorite of all time, especially it being moved from Vegas. This feels that energy like it was year one all over again when it came to how hyped everybody was. And it was everything that you truly could have asked for when it came to Double or Nothing. But in overall, ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure having you guys coming through for the actual podcast. This is the end of the review for AEW's pay-per-view for this year for Double or Nothing 2025 with a lovely review. More importantly, I'd like to know from you guys, what was your actual match that you enjoyed? I'm going to give it a score out of 10 out of 10. There's no way Tony Khan is going to have to top this amazing pay-per-view. From start to finish, it was everything you truly could have asked for. I had nothing but fun with every single match. Probably even down to where I had to take a restroom break, down to the trios match. I didn't miss a beat with anything. The staff was respectful, the way how they handle everything. This arena was a lot better organized than expected, because I thought they still had to figure out how things work and everything like that. But the Arizona crowd kind of resurged everything. I would love for them to start moving cities, different cities, and testing the waters, even going to like Detroit, New Orleans, um, just trying different things. I think it will really help in a big way. My hot ticket is maybe going to 10 all in this year. So I will see how the card is shaping up, and then I will kind of determine if I'm going to go to that. But that will be the big one this year. It will be all in the WrestleMania for AEW. A couple of buddies of mine will be trying to attend and make our way towards AEW Double or Nothing, and a couple of events as well. As don't forget to give a shout out to me in July. I will be at the Ontario for the double feature for Collision and Dynamite for the Ontario Arena in Carson. But I appreciate you guys coming through for this lovely review for AEW Dynamite. Don't forget to check out the next few videos that I have actually available. Until the next episode, you guys be safe. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, turn on post notification bells, as we're officially on the road to 100,000 subscribers. That's the goal. Let's get to it. Keep pushing on, and I appreciate you guys coming through. Until then, y'all be safe. Peace.